F9 to replace that ring light back there. Okay. Alright, let's see. Make sure the level is going out. Good. There we go. We got levels going out. Got my Stream Deck pedal at my feet. What? Where am I getting? Hold on here. Testing, 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 testing. Get some kind of reverb going here. Hold on. Let me check something. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Pull in, pull in, pull in. Check something. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Okay. 1, 2. So it's not in recording. It's probably something else. But I can live with it. Tonight. Let's do something here. Testing. Yeah.
Roger, roger.
And back to pre-show. Okay. So put that over there. Bring this up over here. One, two. Bring that up. With no idea where that's even. Let me do a quick test. I'm just curious here. Alright, let's. I wonder if that comes on, shows up in recording or not. So the answer is it does not. Interesting. It means if I want to play in the recording, I'll have to add it in. Source. Jingle. So here. Let's see, I believe we go up to C, over, see, profiles, gato, nope. Well, I can't find it. Well, let's see here. This is because I have time, doesn't it? Find it. It's in folder. Thomas Townley, roaming Elgato, streamback audio. Audio, stream deck, Elgato, roaming. Thomas Townley. Desktop. Alright. So, if I want to add it, go to properties. Thomas Townley. Desktop. Right. It's a very hard folder to find. I would like to know why. Of course, there's always this. Copy. Anyway, I'll play around with that later. Right now, I gotta get the show on the road, don't I? All right. I got everything set. Testing. 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 That sounds like testing. Well, one thing I can do is I can always turn down the monitor. I won't be able to hear that, but at least I won't get buzz involved there. Let's try that. Testing, 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 testing. Okay. Alright, one more test. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, I might have to shut the computer down, restart. But if it's at least coming through the recording well, then it doesn't matter. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Now it's fine recording, so I'll live with it. All right, there we go. Hit record. Tonight, a new Star Trek movie. John Williams returns to Star Wars. 50 Cent goes DC. Marvel makes The Mandalorian and remembers Sally Kellerman. All that and more on this edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy,
and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this, of course, combined edition of Multiverse Tonight. Of course, your host, Thomas Townley, and, well, not much to report. I've got a new blood pressure medicine. There's that. Doctor says I'm on the right path with my blood pressure, so cheers. I'm drinking water right now. He advised drinking more water, avoiding salt, limiting caffeine, and medicine. So I'm drinking water. And there is something to note in the box office. Let's quickly go over that. This past weekend, Scream came in at number 10. Cyrano debuted at number 9. Studio 666 debuted at number 8. Marry Me came in at number 7. Sing 2 came in at number 6. Jackass Forever stayed at number 5. Death on the Nile stayed at number 4. Spider-Man No Way Home stayed at number 3. Dog stayed at number 2. And Uncharted stayed at number 1. This is because there's kind of a hold right now until the new The Batman movie comes out, which, again, I've decided to let sleeping Batman lie, But the interesting part of the story is Spider-Man No Way Home finally, a couple of weeks ago, made it over Avatar to take the number 3 spot on the top lifetime grosses chart. As right now, it's got $779.887 million in the bank. It has a long way to go to dethrone Avengers Endgame at number 2, which had $858.3 million. And the top, of course, is Star Wars Episode 7: The Force Awakens with nearly $1 billion, $936.6 million. But given that I don't have anything else really to talk about at the top of the show here, let's go on to the Star Trek news. Well, the good news is we're getting a new Star Trek movie. The possible bad news? It's going to be JJ Verse number 4. At the Paramount Investor event, Paramount exec and J.J. Abrams revealed that the movie was in the pipeline, although what the movie will be about, or if Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg, Carl Urban, Zoe Saldana, or John Cho will be returning, is still up in the air. The last movie, Star Trek Beyond, came out in 2016. This new Star Trek movie is set for a due date of December 22nd, 2023. So in other words, they better get cracking. Speaking of that investor event, and trust me, there'll be lots of news about the Paramount investor event. Now, you'll notice I called it the Paramount investor event instead of the Viacom CBS event. That's because the conglomerate has changed its name. Because the Paramount name is an iconic global name. Viacom CBS Chair Shari Redstone and President CEO Bob Bakish in a statement said, quote, As Paramount, our name will reflect who we are, what we aspire to be, and all that we stand for. It will help advance our strategy of harnessing all our strength and breadth in building the business of tomorrow. And it will capture the collective power of our global assets from our amazing brands CBS, Showtime, MTV, Comedy Central, BET, Nickelodeon, Smithsonian, Paramount Pictures, Paramount Plus, Pluto TV, and more, to our global outreach and our diverse audiences. All of which adds up to Paramount being the preeminent home to and producers of the world's greatest content. Unquote.
The Star Trek Prodigy toy line has been revealed. Playmates revealed a first look at the set, which features a Doll-Rel figure with Murph, Gwendola, Jinkampog, hologram Janeway, Zero, with Rock Talk scheduled to come out in early 2023. Now, these figures are 5 inches tall and created at a 1/14th scale with 14 points of articulation. They'll come in a new blister pack packaging styled exclusively for Star Trek Prodigy. Now, the Star Trek Prodigy action figures will be available at online retailers beginning on October 2022. The toys will arrive in stores in spring of 2023, with new Star Trek Prodigy ships, vessels, and role-play toys are also being developed for later release in 2023. Now, Star Trek Prodigy is currently on hiatus after its first 10 episodes, with 10 more episodes ready to debut later this year. A new free-to-play mobile game tied to Star Trek Lower Decks is currently being developed for a worldwide launch later this year on iOS and Android. Titled Star Trek Lower Decks TBD, or Star Trek Lower Decks The Badgie Directive. The game promises to feature the humor and style of Lower Decks. In addition to the storylines and characters from Lower Decks, the mobile game will include characters and stories from across the franchise, reimagining them for fans through the lens of Star Trek Lower Decks. Players will join Mariner, Boimler, and USS Cerritos' crew as they take on a rogue AI Badgie in their attempt to return to the real world. The new Lower Decks game is being developed by Eastside Games, Canada's leading free-to-play mobile game group. Australian-based video game company Mighty Kingdom Limited will also be co-developing the game. In a statement, ESGG's Chief Executive Officer Darcy Taylor said, quote, "The Star Trek franchise has an unmistakable influence on adults and children alike for over 50 years. Being able to bring such a storied franchise to mobile in our trademark idle game style is an honor for us here at ESGG. We're looking forward to sharing this new experience in the Star Trek franchise with everyone from new audiences to Star Trek superfans. This new mobile game is another top-tier IP franchise that will only add to our already exciting launch schedule for 2022. Now, ESGG has developed many licensed mobile games, including Archer Danger Phone, The Goldbirds Back to the 80s, It's Always Sunny, The Gang Goes Mobile, and The Office, Somehow We Manage. Now let's go on to the Star Wars news.
Roger, Roger.
John Williams, who scored all the Star Wars movies 1 through 9, is back, this time writing the score for Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. The music is being recorded with an orchestra under tight security in LA. Now, Mr. Williams will be turning 90 years old this month. Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi will premiere on Disney Plus on May 25th. And speaking of musical scores, Nicholas Britell, who worked on Cruella and Moonlight, has been tapped to score the Diego Luna starring Star Wars Andor series. Now, the series will of course be a prequel to Rogue One, a Star Wars story, since there are no more Andor stories after that. Remember. StarWars.com revealed on Valentine's Day a new Star Wars novel from Beth Revis called Star Wars, The Princess and the Scoundrel. The novel begins on the forest moon of Endor, where Han proposes in the elation of the rebel victory against the Empire. After a ceremony at the site of the victory celebration at the end of the film, the newlyweds depart for a honeymoon aboard the Halcyon Star Cruiser, the luxury vessel at the heart of the new Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser experience at Disney World Resort. In their most desperate hour, with the war still raging but the Empire nearing its last grasp, the couple must outwit the Imperial remnants clinging to power. Yes, that's right, it's the wedding of the century in a galaxy far, far away. The book will be out on August 16th, 2022. And sadly, writer Tom Veitch has died at the age of 80 due to complications from COVID-19, according to a public Facebook post from his brother, artist, writer, publisher Rick Veitch. Now, in the world of comic books, Veitch is best known for writing a trilogy of Star Wars comic stories published by Dark Horse Comics throughout the early 90s, Dark Empire 2, and Empire's End. Before his Star Wars work, Vetch got his start as a writer by publishing his poetry before eventually moving into the world of underground comics alongside artist Greg Irons, creating works including the Legions of Charles, Deviant Slice, Slow Death, and Skull Comics. Throughout the 70s, Vetch also continued publishing poetry as well as prose novels before joining up with Cam Kennedy for a Marvel epic comic story sci-fi title called The Light and Darkness War, which led to Vetch and Kennedy's work on Star Wars Dark Empire. Following the success of Dark Empire, Vetch continues his work in comics, publishing a series of stories at DC, including The Naz alongside artist Brian Talbot, Clash with Adam Kubert, My Name is Chaos alongside artist John Ridgway, and a run on DC's Animal Man superhero title. In his later years, Vetch ran a bookstore called Old Bennington Books in his hometown of Bennington, Vermont, while continuing to publish his memoirs. Vetch is survived by his wife Martha, daughter Angela Vetch Stasola, grandsons Tommy Walls and Jacob Walls, sister Wendy Lilly, and his brothers Robert, Rick, Michael, and Peter. And with that, we'll go on to the DC news. Paul Dano, the actor best known for playing the... Let's try that one again. Paul Dano, the actor playing the Riddler in the upcoming The Batman, says that playing this version of the Riddler was so intense it kept him awake at night. Now, Dano told Entertainment Weekly, quote, "There's a sequence with Pierre Sarsgaard's character, Gil Coulson, that was intense. There were some nights around that I probably didn't sleep as well as I would have wanted to, just because it was a little hard to come down from this character. It takes a lot of energy to get there, and so you almost have to sustain it once you're there, because going up and down is kind of hard." Director Matt Reeves also added about Dano, quote, "He is really a chameleon. He's brilliant in so much, but I think you see him going through a very internal tortured experience in his characters. You can see him really in an active way having this kind of psychological turmoil that I find is really compelling," unquote. Now, speaking of the Batman, if you search on Google for Batman-related keywords like Bruce Wayne, Gotham City, or Bat Signal, you'll get a fun little interactive surprise when the actual Bat Signal shows up as a GIF on your results. Now, clicking on this Bat Signal GIF will give your screen a dark noir makeover courtesy of the Batman. If that's enough, Batman comes swinging across the screen courtesy of his signature grappling hook. According to Google, this Easter egg interactive surprise was not sponsored by Warner Brothers and will remain active for the next year. Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent's G-Unit, is developing a live-action film based on the original DC comic book series Zero by Christopher Priest. Now, the movie will follow a black government assassin who weaponizes invisibility by disguising himself as a white man to blend anonymously into the exotic Casino Royale haunts of the international elite. Spanning the gulf between that and the franchise city streets of East St. Louis, Illinois, Train Walker is a man living in two worlds but taking ownership of neither. Zero tells the story of his moral awakening and the life and death perils it presents. Now, G-Unit Film and Television will produce the upcoming adaptation alongside Eric Alexander and Ben Arnon for Color Farm, and Joseph Illich, who serves as CEO of the newly launched production and publishing company Illuminus. While Zero originated as a DC Comics property, rights to the series reverted back to Priest in 2008, meaning that the Warner Bros. Subsidiary will not be involved in the project. Priest said about the deal, quote, "Zero depicts a slow-moving car wreck at the intersection of race and class. The commonality of struggle represented by the life experiences of Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, G-Unit Film and Television, and Color Farm assure a broad depth of first-hand appreciation for that delicate balance. It's exciting to be working together to create this new world," unquote. And Mr. Jackson added to that, quote, There's no one better than Christopher Priest to bring G-Unit film and television into the world of comic book superheroes. Watch as we build Zero into a franchise alongside Christopher and Color Farm Media. I can't wait for the world to meet Train Walker in an all-new way. Now, there's a little more Batman news here. Among the other Warner Brothers licensed products that are rolling out in tandem with the release of the highly anticipated The Batman movie, ranging from Lanvin and Elvin by Venus Williams apparel to Carhartt hoodies, Puma sneakers, Funko Pops, nail polish, and the like, likely the most expensive item in the mix is a luxury timepiece. Revealed Tuesday, the Batman Tourbillon watch, an official license with Swiss design studio and manufacturer Cross Studio, retails at a price fit for Bruce Wayne, $100,000. Now, it features a design inspired by the reimagined bat signal seen in the new Robert Pattinson movie, due on March 4th, and the purchaser gets not just the black and red timepiece, but also a functional light-up aluminum sculpture of the bat signal. Together, the two pieces make up the limited edition Batman collector set, of which only 10 are being produced, and which will arrive in a specially made wooden box. Mark Tedeschi, founder and creative director of Cross Studios, told The Hollywood Reporter that 2 out of the 10 of collector sets have already been pre-sold. As for the watch's specs, it's a 45mm hand-wound timepiece with a 5-day power reserve, and it's water-resistant to 30 meters. It's made of grade 5 titanium with black DLC coating and features a 1 revolution per minute tourbillon in the center, which is not something very common in tourbillon watches, they added. With a bat emblem of the Louvre tourbillon cage. A tourbillon is a rotating cage mechanism engineered to combat the effects of gravity on the watch's accuracy. Powering the watch is Cross Studios' in-house developed and produced caliber KS7000. In all, there are 283 parts in the watch, each handmade and assembled in Switzerland. Bruce Wayne would be proud? Maybe a little furious? I don't know. Anyway, let's go on to the Marvel Comics news. Variety has confirmed with sources that This Is Us's Lyric Ross has joined the cast of Marvel's Ironheart. Ross joined previously announced cast members Dominique Thorne and Anthony Ramos. As previously reported, the show follows Marvel character Riri Williams, played by Thorne, a genius inventor and the creator of the most advanced suit of armor since Iron Man. Ross is believed to be playing Williams' best friend. Now, details on the character Ramos is playing are still being kept under wraps. Game of Thrones George R.R. Martin, who can't be bothered to finish the last Game of Thrones book, is launching a Marvel comic book series. Fortunately, it's adapted from something he's already written. Marvel is adapting Martin's first Wild Cards book, which kicked off a long-running anthology series in 1987 with stories by Martin, Howard Waldrop, and Roger Zelazny. Mr. Martin said in a statement, quote, "As my fans may already know, the Wild Cards world holds a special place in my heart. So to have the privilege of announcing that an industry titan like Marvel is going to produce the narrative from the beginning as a comic book brings me no end of joy." Unquote. Now, writer Paul Cornell and artist Mike Hawthorne have signed on to create the comic for Marvel. A Wild Cards TV series is also in development, most recently at Peacock. Marvel Wild Cards, the drawing of the cards #1 will hit stands on January 1st. The new Blade movie, starring Mahershala Ali as the Daywalker himself and Vampire Hunter, has added Aaron Pierre, who recently starred in M. Night Shyamalan's Old. Now, details on what character he'll be playing are still under wraps. Marvel will be adapting the first season of The Mandalorian into a comic book series. Marvel's The Mandalorian will come from writer Rodney Barnes and artist George Gianti, and will adapt episode 1 to 8 into the first 8 issues of the comic. Now, Barnes told StarWars.com, quote, "The story of The Mandalorian checks so many boxes of the stuff I'm passionate about. I love westerns, fantasy, sci-fi, comedy, drama. It's a dream gig for any writer. I'm just glad I was chosen for this assignment. Gianti added, quote, I've always thought an artist's style is a lot like writing in shorthand. It's very subjective. What I bring to Star Wars is my detail and love for a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars, especially where bounty hunters are concerned, is a messy landscape. I love drawing out the little details. My look has always been detail-oriented. And with The Mandalorian, there is so much going on with the character and in the background, and I look forward to adding visually to this already rich tapestry that makes up this universe. Marvel's The Mandalorian adaptation launches with its first issue in June. The Mandalorian is expected to return to Disney Plus with new episodes in late 2022. And now let's go on to the geek news. Geek news begins with Paramount, who has gone ahead with a third Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Sonic 2 will be out on April 8th and will introduce Idris Elba as Knuckles, who will then get a live-action series on Paramount+. Now, also coming back for Sonic 2 is Ben Schwartz, who is returning as the voice of the iconic Sonic video game character, along with supporting cast that includes Jim Carrey and James Marsden. Now, director Jeff Fowler is also returning for the follow-up, alongside writers Pat Casey and Josh Miller. Now, it's unclear if the filmmaking team will return for the third film, which is now in early development. South Park will have a new address for you to go down to, as the 25-year-old show will now move over to Paramount Plus after its deal with HBO Max expires. However, that will be a ways off, as the current $500 million deal won't end until 2025. However, in markets outside of the U.S., the South Park catalog will launch on Paramount Plus later this year. In addition, all new episodes of the series will go to Paramount Plus, starting with season 27 in 2024, both in the U.S. and globally. As part of MTV Entertainment Studios' new deal with co-creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker, South Park will extend through its 30th season along with 14 specials on Paramount Plus, building on South Park Post-COVID and South Park Post-COVID: The Return of COVID, which debuted this year. Also announced at the latest Investors event was a new Beavis and Butthead film titled Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, which will premiere on Paramount Plus. Described as, quote, perhaps the dumbest space movie ever made, unquote. The film follows Beavis and Butthead as they're sentenced to space camp by a creative judge in 1998. Their obsession with a docking simulator leads to a trip on the space shuttle with disastrous results. And after going through a black hole, they reemerge in our time, where they look for love, misuse iPhones, and are hunted by the deep state. Additionally, a new season of Beavis and Butthead and all previous episodes will stream exclusively on Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus, a mountain of entertainment. Also at Paramount Plus will be a revival movie of MTV's Teen Wolf series. In the film, a terrifying evil emerges in Beacon Hills. The wolves are howling once again, calling for the return of banshees, were-coyotes, hellhounds, kitsunes, and every other shapeshifter in the night. But only a werewolf like Scott McCall, no longer a teenager yet still an alpha, can gather both new allies and reunite trusted friends to fight back against what would be the most powerful and deadliest enemy they've ever faced. The film is produced by MTV Entertainment Studios and MGM's Orion Television. Also announced was a new Transformers animated series and an animated movie. Paramount Plus tweeted the announcement saying, quote, Transformers Rise of the Beast will be released theatrically in 2023 and is the first of 3 new installments. The new animated series from at Nickelodeon arrives this fall, and in 2024, the franchise expands further with a CG animated Transformers theatrical film. The new sequel to A Christmas Story has added more original cast members, and joining Peter Billingsley will be Ian Petrella, who played Ralph's little brother Randy, Zach Ward, who played Scott Farkas, Scott Schwartz, who played Flick, and R.D. Robb, who played Schwartz. I know, sounds confusing, doesn't it? A working synopsis provided to Deadline says, Ralphie reconnects with childhood friends, reconciles the past of his old man, and sows the seeds for the origins of the beloved holiday classic. Now, Billingsley is producing the project with his filmmaker partner Vince Vaughn through their Wild West Picture Show banner. Nick Shinnick wrote the script, for which Clay Cadiz will direct. Cale Boyder and Jay Ashenfelter are moving the project along at Legendary. While most of the actors have moved along to other roles throughout the years, this will mark Petrello's first return since his previous A Christmas Story role. I wonder if there's any way we can get Zach Ward on the podcast to talk about it. Who knows? There's always a chance. I got him on Twitter. In the movies, nobody asked for this. In the movies, nobody asked for Department. Universal announced that Despicable Me 4 will be coming out in 2024, probably July 4th weekend. So, July 4, 2024, Despicable Me 4. Can we get any more 4s in there? Steve Carell, Kirsten Wiig, Miranda Cosgrove, Steve Coogan, and Pierre Coffin will all be back for the sequel. Now, the latest movie in the Despicable Me / Minions universe, Minions: The Rise of Gru, which was originally supposed to come out on July 3rd, 2 years ago, will come out this July 1st. And, of course, we can't let The Walking Dead die. The upcoming AMC anthology, Tales of the Walking Dead, has added Olivia Munn, Danny Ramirez, Lone Chabonel, Beth Davids, and Jesse T. Usher and to the cast of the series, which is set in the Walking Dead universe. Now, previously announced cast there includes Danielle Pinata, Terry Crews, Parker Posey, Poppy Liu, Anthony Edwards, and Jillian Bell. Tales of the Walking Dead is an episodic anthology which will consist of 6 episodes. It's expected to debut on AMC and AMC Plus this summer. Warner Brothers is saying hands off to the film rights to The Lord of the Rings. The studio, which has publicly stated its control over film adaptations of J.R.R. Tolkien's classic fantasy trilogy, amid rumblings in the industry that a clutch of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit rights are being shopped around by longtime owner the Zal Sands Company. The Sands Company and Warner Brothers are currently in the middle of a private mediation process to help settle their differences about whether the studio has met its obligations to hold on to that license, according to multiple sources close to the situation. A Warner Brothers spokesman told Variety, quote, New Line Cinema has maintained the theatrical film rights, both live action and animated, for over 2 decades now. We are currently in production on the anime film The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, and look forward to bringing audiences back to Middle-earth, unquote. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And finally tonight, Sally Kellerman, who starred as Hot Lips Houlihan in the movie version of MASH, has passed away. Now, Sally was a California native born on June 2nd, 1937, and by the end of the 1950s, she joined the newly opened Actors Studio West and had her first film role in 1957's Reform School Girl. She had several roles, including an episode on The Outer Limits with Martin Landau and The Alfred Hitchcock Hour. In 1966, she was a guest star on the second pilot for Star Trek, playing psychiatrist Elizabeth Denner, whose godlike powers, after crossing the Great Barrier at the edge of the galaxy, led to her demise in Where No Man Has Gone Before. After that, she guest starred in The Invaders and Hawaii Five-0 before getting her next big role as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan in Robert Altman's movie production of MASH. Her performance received an Academy Award and Golden Globe nominations. She won the Kansas City Film Critics Circle Award for Best Supporting Actress, the Golden Laurel for Best Comedic Performance Female, and a second-place National Society of Film Critics Award for Best Supporting Actress. After that, she starred in movies like Last of the Red Hot Lovers, Slither, Moving Violations, Back to School opposite Rodney Dangerfield, Meatballs 3, and more of her last movie roles were in 2016 in His Neighbor Phil, the remake, and Flycatcher. She had TV roles in such shows as The Twilight Zone, My Three Sons, Bonanza, Mannix. She hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live, Hotel, the Ray Bradbury Theater, Evening Shade, Diagnosis Murder, Columbo, High School USA, she did 10 episodes of The Young and the Restless, for which she received an Emmy nomination for Best Actress. 7 episodes of Decker, and her final TV role was an episode of Difficult People in 2017. Kellerman also did some singing. In 1972, she released her first album, Roll With the Feeling. Around that time, Kellerman had dated Grand Funk Railroad singer-guitarist Mark Farner, who wrote the 1976 pop song Sally about her. Her second album, Sally, was released in 2009. Kellerman wed writer-director Rick Edelson from Starsky & Hutch in December of 1970, but the marriage was troubled from the start. They divorced in 1972. She remarried in 1980 to producer Jonathan D. Crane from Look Who's Talking and Face Off. They adopted twins, Hannah, who died in 2016. Some money, check out the show notes, visit our TeePublic store, and so much more. Head on over to multiversetonight.com. If you're a subscriber, please be sure to share it with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave us with some feedback, and let us know how we're doing. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching this edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be with another edition. Now please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions. Copyright 2022. All rights reserved. Alright, let's see the damage. So I think before I record the interview this evening, I'm gonna restart the computer.
Tonight, a new Star Trek movie, John Williams returns to Star Wars, 5th books, sci-fi. And welcome to this, of course, combined order right now. 6, Jackass Forever, 9 point. The good news is that Star Trek Beyond came out in 20. The statement's the greatest console at all. Star Trek brings up comic books, Reeves, Christopher Priest, zero into and created for the announced so to have.com for 20 in early development, which they ahead and in 20 a Christmas story guy, according to pilot My Three Son and Funko. And that brings us to the end of this edition. And so much more, let us know. It's a production of Half Baked Genre Productions, copyright 2022. All rights reserved.
Well, I recorded